Welcome back to Football Daily, and with the Premier League kicking off this weekend, it's about time we brought you our squad of players to watch this campaign. Goalkeeper, Robert Sanchez. We start off with Brighton and Hove Albion shot stopper Robert Sanchez. The 23-year-old burst onto the scene last season, capitalising on Matty Ryan's poor form between the sticks to make the starting spot his own, and the half-English, half-Spanish goalkeeper ended the campaign as Luis Enrique's third choice heading into Euro 2020. Just a year removed from a loan spell at League One Rochdale, Sanchez conceded just 26 goals in 27 appearances for the Seagulls, keeping 10 clean sheets, including a run of 5 in 6 matches, which featured wins over both Liverpool and Spurs. He also saved his side 4.8 goals against, according to post-shot expected goals, on a par with seasoned stoppers Lucas Fabianski and Nick Pope. With Graham Potter at the helm, Brighton gained a reputation for not converting chances, having scored 14 less than XG suggested they should. If they don't start scoring the goals they need, they'll have to rely on Sanchez to continue producing the goods at the other end. If he does, don't be surprised if a bigger club comes calling. Defender, Valentino Livramento. A name that will be virtually unknown to the majority of Premier League viewers is Valentino Livramento. The 18-year-old has made the switch from Chelsea's academy to Southampton for £5 million this summer, having not made a senior appearance for the Blues before his departure, although he did feature in the matchday squad for a couple of games last May. However, he was thought to be amongst their most talented prospects, and was apparently Ralph Hasenhüttl's #1 target entering the window. The wingback, also capable of playing in midfield, was also courting the interest of Arsenal, Leipzig, Monaco and even Manchester City, so this is definitely a coup for the South Coast side. Scoring 3 goals and setting up 10 more in the development leagues for Chelsea last season, it remains to be seen if Livramento will be a starter at the St Mary's. His former club hold a £25 million buyback on the England Youth International though, so they certainly believe he can turn into an elite Premier League footballer. But is that something we will discover this campaign? Defender, Marc Guehi. After splashing the cash last summer, and with the intent to do so again this window too, Chelsea needed to recoup some money through player sales. One unfortunate victim of this is centre-back Marc Guehi, who after 18 successful months on loan with Championship side Swansea City, has signed for Crystal Palace in a deal that could be worth up to £20 million. The 21-year-old, who averaged 3.1 defensive actions a game at the Liberty Stadium, is joining a Palace side in transition, having seen 10 first-team players leave over the summer, and with Patrick Vieira an unknown quantity as a Premier League manager. But despite this uncertainty, Guehi certainly looks like he'll be part of a decent centre-back partnership at Selhurst Park. Joachim Andersen has also traded West London for South in a permanent move from Lyon, having spent last season impressing despite Fulham's relegation, and is set to start alongside the England Youth International. Palace had the third worst defence during the 2020-21 campaign, but it looks like they've rectified their defence and now just need to perform in attack. More on that later on. Defender, Virgil Van Dijk. Virgil van Dijk was at the top of his game 10 months ago, before suffering an ACL injury in the Merseyside derby thanks to a Jordan Pickford challenge. It was a presence Jurgen Klopp missed, as Liverpool would have 20 different centre-back pairings during the 2021 season, yet somehow still qualified for the Champions League. Surely the return of Van Dijk can only be good news for Klopp. Well, yes, but it is still set to be a long road to full fitness for the 30-year-old. A rule of thumb tends to be that however long a player is out with an injury of the Dutchman's ilk, the same amount of time is needed to regain full fitness, meaning Van Dijk might not be peak until the closing stages of the season. It's incredibly unlikely that he'll start the campaign, having only featured intermittently during pre-season, and Klopp needs to be incredibly careful with managing his return, which we have no doubt he will be. It's likely that Van Dijk will be crucial to Liverpool's success this campaign, whether that be because of his return or his absence from the pitch. Midfielder, Leon Bailey. With Jack Grealish finally completing his move to Manchester City, it's time for someone else to take centre stage at Villa Park, and that has to be Leon Bailey. The Jamaican international completed a £30 million move from Bayer Leverkusen to Aston Villa, only a couple of seasons removed from links to the likes of Chelsea and Manchester United. The 23-year-old has just come off the campaign of his life in the Bundesliga, with his 17 league goal involvements the highest in his career, as he's given up the opportunity of European football this season to join up with Dean Smith's squad. He also put up 1.6 key passes, 1.9 shots and 2.5 dribbles a game last year, the beating heart of the Leverkusen side. Villa now have Bailey, Emi Buendia, Ollie Watkins and Danny Ings in attacking areas, a better front four than a number of Premier League sides. Bailey may never be able to replace what Grealish represented to the Villa fans, but if he hits the ground running in the Premier League, he could easily fill the void left by him on the pitch, and that may make him the new icon for Villa fans. Midfielder Emile Smith Rowe. One player Aston Villa failed to sign this summer was Emile Smith Rowe, having a £30 million bid knocked back by Arsenal. Soon after, the 21-year-old would not only sign a 5-year contract to remain at the Emirates, but now follows in the footsteps of Dennis Bergkamp, Mesut Ozil and William Gallas in being handed the number 10 shirt for the Gunners. So that indicates that the England under-21 international, who first joined the club as a 10-year-old, is set for an important role under Mikel Arteta this upcoming campaign. And so he should be. The Spaniards side lacked any real creativity before Smith Rowe's introduction to the first team following injury around Christmas. No player in the Arsenal squad set up more than his 4 goals following his season debut, making 18 starts and contributing 1.4 key passes a game, which was more than any of his teammates, with his side the 3rd best team by points in the Premier League from Boxing Day onwards. Now we get to see what Smith Rowe can do in his first full season with the Arsenal first team, presuming he can stay fit. Midfielder Michael Olise. Back in May, we put out a video featuring 10 players too good for the Championship, and at number 1 on that list was Michael Olise. Last season he featured for a Reading side that just missed out on the playoffs, and despite turning 19 halfway through the campaign, was very much the star player at the Majeski Stadium. Picked up by Crystal Palace after they activated his £8.37 million release clause, the former Chelsea and Manchester City academy player scored 7 and set up 12 more in his breakout campaign in the 2nd tier. And now he is part of a side that is impossible to judge ahead of the upcoming season. Last year he put up 1.9 key passes, 1.6 shots and 1.3 dribbles a game, numbers that would have been good enough for a top 4 in each category at Selhurst Park. Handed the number 7 shirt and part on attack that will also featured Wilfried Zaha and Eberechi Eze, he could prove to be one of the signings of the season if he remains as effective under Patrick Vieira. Midfielder Said Benrahma. It's probably fair to say that Said Benrahma's debut campaign in East London didn't quite go as many anticipated. Initially signed on loan from Brentford before the deal became permanent for £25 million in January, more than half of the Algerian's 30 Premier League appearances came from the bench. A victim of Jesse Lingard's imperious form at the London Stadium, Benrahma found himself shifted around the midfield positions, often filling a hole instead of being deployed in his preferred position of behind the striker. Despite that, the 25-year-old still contributed 7 goals, coming at an average of 1 every 2 games. And he did this whilst putting up a team-high 2.7 dribbles per 90, as well as 2.3 shots and 1.7 key passes per 92. So with the Lingard return all but off the table and the need for rotation with the Hammers in European competition, the path is clear for Benrahma to become an integral part of the West Ham attack under David Moyes. Midfielder Ismaila Sarr. To Watford now, who, along with Norwich City, bounced back to the Premier League at the first time of asking. The main man behind their promotion success last campaign was Ismaila Sarr, who stuck by the club despite their relegation, with the right winger being consistently linked with a move away from Vicarage Road. The Senegalese international, who joined the Hornets for £27 million from Rennes in 2019, scored 13 goals and set up 5 in the 2020-21 Championship season, both the highest at the club. His 2.2 shots, 1.9 dribbles and 1.1 key passes also exceeded his teammates, living up to the hype he displayed in his first season at the club. Over the last year, the 23-year-old has seen his name connected with a move to Liverpool, as Jurgen Klopp is said to be an admirer of the right winger. If Sarr continues to perform at the same level that has seen him become a fan favourite at Watford, he could well be in line for a big money move that would see him link up or even replace fellow countryman Sadio Mane at Anfield. Forward Ivan Toney. 11 months ago, Ivan Toney made the switch from Peterborough United to Brentford for an initial £5 million. By the time January rolled around, the 25-year-old was already being linked with a move to the Premier League, just 3 years after leaving Newcastle United in search of more regular game time. The rumours suggested that the likes of Leicester were preparing to make a £30 million move for the striker should the Bees fail in their promotion bid. But of course they went up through the playoffs, meaning Toney will now be a starter in England's top flight. But now the big question is, can he replicate last season's form? Whilst it's unlikely he'll score 30 goals and set up another 10 in the Premier League like he did last campaign, Toney now has the platform to show any potential suitors what he can do on the biggest stage, whilst also adding a premium to any asking price. That is if he wants to leave Brentford. He's the leading man under head coach Thomas Frank, and that definitely won't be changing anytime soon. Forward, Raul Jimenez. In November 2020, it was feared that Raul Jimenez may never play football again. The Wolves striker had been knocked unconscious in a clash of heads with Arsenal's David Luiz, and it's revealed that he had fractured his skull and needed surgery. But just 9 months on, and the Molineux-based side need him now more than ever. In the 28 games played without the Mexican last campaign, Wolves scored just 25 goals, the third lowest total in that span, and gained just 28 points. Only the 3 relegated clubs and Southampton claimed less. And without any strikers being signed this window, the onus is back on Jimenez to find form quickly. Already Wolves' top Premier League scorer of all time with 34 goals, new boss Bruno Lage has stated his intention to rely on the 30-year-old this season, who now has to wear a protective headband whilst on the pitch. Jimenez certainly seems confident heading into the new campaign, and he'll need to be if he wants to fire Wolves back into continental competition. So that was our squad of Premier League players to watch this campaign, but do you think we've missed anyone out? Let me know in the comments below and we'll try to reply to you. If you want to watch more Football Daily content, then click on screen right now. If you've enjoyed the video, then click that like button and make sure you subscribe to Football Daily.